How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews, back with a little bit of Calusa up in his piece in the form of King's Creatures English Export Stout. This comes courtesy of my boy, John from Brewster's Ales. He sent off a bunch of his quote-unquote homebrew and threw in a couple Florida jams. This is one of them. I'm super excited to dive into this. You're talking about a 6.9% export stout. Come on, baby. I haven't had Calusa in quite some bit. I think the last time I had some might have been from John. I got a bunch of their stuff early on before they kind of got all big and stiff. And yeah, it's been a bit. But most of the stuff I've had from them has been very, hazy forward, pastry forward stuff. So to get something like a traditional kind of export stout is really effing cool. What else do we have here? Do we have a canned on date? 6/26. You're talking about 3 months old. Not 26. Looks like 26. Not that old for an export stout. Deep roasty, elegant, and sinister. A hypnotic darkness and scary drinkability. Monsters covet and hoard the British malt notes of espresso, toast, and light toffee with a traditional ale strain. Yeah. Likewise, it's Calusa. It's what they do. And get down with it. And yeah, I mean, it has that creamy, fluffy kind of head to it. A little bit of rocky on the edges, a little bit more kind of, not uber soft that you'd expect from an export stout, but a lot of times when we think export stout, we think of kind of like nitrogenized stuff. So it doesn't really have that going on for it, but a little bit more crumbly on the edges than what you come to expect. And it has that rich kind of dark color that is not straight on black. It kind of has this kind of tones of red and kind of mahogany kind of floating around on the edges. So she looks the part, at least. Let's put it that way. Let's get a nose. That's what I remember, and that's what I love. I mean, it's giving me this soft baker's chocolate, molasses, caramel toffee thing. It kind of follows suit. What do they call it? I know they said toffee. What else are they calling here? Espresso. I'm not going to be getting a coffee thing off of this. Yeah, just that rich kind of toasty, roasty, kind of chocolatey malt with that little bit of toffee, kind of brown sugar, molasses kind of thing going on. It smells quite nice. Yeah, it doesn't smell overly sweet. It smells like it doesn't have a nice drying to, a little bit of drying on a finish. It's probably a little bit high. I mean, export stout I think is more kind of in the 5 to low 6 range. I could be wrong on that. I'm shooting from the top of my head. But she smells nice. Going to be a little bit of sweetness. Hopefully a little bit of bittering to back it up. Finishing dry, hopefully. Let's dive in. Cheers. Okay. Not even nearly as sweet as I thought it was going to be. Not that the style has to be sweet to be an export stout, but the way the nose came off, a little bit of caramel vibes, a little bit of toffee vibes, and that little bit of molasses vibes, I thought I was going to get a little bit sweeter, but the nose kind of leads you astray a little bit. It's a really drying beer. It's toasty. It's not overly burnt, overly charred, anything like that. It's a very nice toasted level of malt throughout it, and you kind of get this multi-level kind of toasted malt thing. It's not just a base kind of chocolate malt or dark malt or kind of marisade or anything like that. It's just feels like there's several levels of kind of roasty, toasty malt in there, toasty malt in there. That adds this cool kind of multi-grain, kind of darker pumpernickel-y kind of thing going on. It doesn't taste like pumpernickel. You get what I'm getting at. This darker kind of roasty malt that comes off with a nice dollop of like a baker's chocolate. A nice, soft, creamy kind of mouthfeel. I like it. I think it's fun. And honestly, not that Calusa can't do these kind of beers. I mean, I've had a bunch of their beers. I dig their beers quite a bit. But when you have so many, the hazies to pastries, all those levels of beer, and then you have this kind of beer thrown at you from one of those breweries, you're always a little bit curious. See how it's going to come off. Are they going to lean uber traditional, or are they going to do some kind of Florida crazy adjunct-laden weirdo kind of version of these kind of beers? This is uber traditional. Probably a little bit skosh less bittering than what you'd expect from like an export stout. Not that they're a bittering kind of beer, but they usually have just a skosh more bittering to them. I mean, Micron more bittering to them, but it's really traditional, and it's done really, really well. 0 negative, 0 off flavor, 0 of that metallic astringency. I mean, 6.9%, dark beer like this is wheelhouse for me to get that metallic thing I'm so susceptible to, and I am not getting any of it here. So it's really well done. And honestly, I mean, you're talking about a pounder of this, 6.9%. If you're giving this to me for $14 or less, I think I'm on it all day. So let's cut to that chase. One of the better export stouts that I've had as of late. Yeah, definitely up there, mind you. Close, very close. The Mount Rushmore status. Only, I mean, for a couple different reasons. One, it's worthy of being up there. Two, I haven't had a ton of these as of late. So it's really tasty stuff. Value to availability, no idea. John, let me know what's what when it comes to this beer, or anybody else down there in the Florida way, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. It's going to sound super dumb. If you like export stouts. I mean, it's really, if you like British stouts, this is going to be your jam, because they're very specific. You know, they're drinkable. They're usually a little bit dry, a little bit bittering, a lot of kind of non-sweet or semi-sweet kind of chocolates, and they're not new school. They're not super pastry level kind of sweetness. So if you like those kind of beers, you're going to like this. I know it's a little bit on the nose, but it kind of works. So there we go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there, if you want to talk about it, Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massive. Want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little Calusa jam right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.